Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Wise Paper. My name is Elizabeth. Here we do all sorts of paper crafts, junk journaling, mixed media and art therapy. So today I would like to continue working on my faux leather journal. We will start decorating the pages, almost like in this one, simple yet cute and interesting. I would like to bring like a bit of a masculine feel to it. And today we will also bind the journal, so we will complete it. And I will show you exactly how I do the binding. So I have prepared my pages for a signature. It will be a one signature journal because the spine isn't so big. If you have like a cereal box or anything like that, you may have like 2, 3 or more signatures, depending on the size of your spine. So here it's a quick flip through of the pages that I have prepared. There's some leftover paper, some brochure cutouts, some pages like craft paper that I have stained with my sprays. Now I'll show you how I made them. So basically you need to measure the width of the page and double it because you will fold it exactly like in the half. So half is the width of your one page and you need to double it because, well, the width of the exact journal is double up. And I measure the height, and you shall not double it. The height is the height, so if you decide on a number, you just measure it on your paper and that's it. So here I have some leftovers from the project, and now I'm showing it that if you have a width of 7.5 centimeters, you have to do 15 centimeters, and then the width is 9.5 centimeters for my journal. It can be different for yours, of course. So for this page, I will start from decorating and I will do a bit of stenciling, stamping, adding some pockets and so on. Here I will do stenciling with my wax paints. They are, well, not so prominent in color, well, not all of them, but they give an interesting shine. They have this duochromatic effect, like this gold gives like a green tone to it if you look at it at a different direction. And here I'm just speeding it up for you because it is quite a long process because the wax is, well, it's not that easy to blend as the paint. So as you can see, it's almost unnoticeable, but it's still there and it adds interest. Because I wanted to make the pages for this journal quite simple, because it will be used as a sort of an album. It doesn't necessarily need all of the decorations. I just basically build a background. And for the left side, I will also use a stencil, but with different wax. This time it will be, well, it's paint, not exactly wax, but the effect is similar. It is duochromatic with purple and gold, and I will show you the effect a bit later. So it's not much noticeable, but I really like the duochromatic effect. So see, it's gold and purple if you look at it differently. I really like this effect. I would like to use it in my mixed media projects. So I'm adding it here and there. Not too much in order to keep it simple. I don't need it to be too busy. We have busy pages. And I will also like to somehow emphasize the middle of the page because it seems to be quite empty there. And I will basically use the same stencil but with my distress oxide. So I've cleaned the stencil from the paint with a baby wipe. I believe it's like not a baby wipe, it's just a usual wet napkin. So I'm using a walnut stain distress oxide. I will link the supplies I use in the description down below, but as for the wax and stencils, I cannot link them, well, not all of them, because they are from my local shop and they do not sell abroad, unfortunately. So I'm choosing the next paper. This is like draft paper that I basically colored it with like a background, sort of in a background way, but the other side was left as it is, and I've used it here as a page, but the back side is still as it is. So I decided to cover it a bit with the leftover paper of my like baking paper palette. I like to use it in all of my projects basically. And I will just create a simple tuck spot for photos, for example. And it's also a nice idea to keep the journal simple, because the person who receives it can also decorate it like as the person wants. Not every time the client needs a lot of decorations. I think this is this time. So it is quite simple, but I've still added some charm to it. Some charm, yes. So on the left side, I will also add a pocket. Oh no, I will just put washi tape on there to kind of make it a bit more interesting, but still leave it as a background. Because there will be mostly photos glued here, I'm not particularly bothered by the background that I create. If it contains some text or like it looks like a draft, I'm not particularly mad about it. It's a junk journal after all. And we are using our trash, right? So here I'm using the stencil with my distress oxide once again, just to create a little bit of interest on the page. So it's just not just draft paper, right? There is something to it. Okay, proceeding to the next one, but first cleaning my stencil. Next goes this cogwheel sprayed paper, and I will... First I decided to... probably will stamp it with different stamps. And I'm searching for a stamp that will look sort of a backgroundish, and I have chosen a few. And we will first do this Crackle stamp. I really like it for a background because it keeps it abstract and still creates interest. So I'm doing it with my hands, not even with the block, so it will be more abstract. Because with the block you can achieve a more prominent picture, more crisp picture, while with your hands it's more free, more abstract. And I'm using my photo distress ink for that. Now I will add this like corner stamps. Well, not corner stamps, but I will place them in the corners. I will use oxide for a like more prominent effect. I think I like the word prominent because I keep using it here and there. And I will do the same stamp because, well, these pages will be separate from each other by the different pages. Now I need a bit more of a bright stamping to kind of have a little bit of a focal point. And I will probably stick to the ticket here. But first I will do the advertisement piece. It will be still a backgroundish, not very crisp. I'm adding it like to both pages, not only on the one page. So it is even more interesting that way. And I'm putting a second generation stamp, but it's hard to notice. And then I will add the ticket stamp with the black ink, so it will be more noticeable. So here I'm like showing you different ways to decorate your pages, like simple ways if you don't want to spend too much time on the decorations, because this will be a simple project. The previous one is also quite simple, and I didn't even add like pockets or anything because it was for notes only, so I didn't need them. But here I'm okay with having some pockets because it will be mostly for photos and stuff. Yeah. This is the same piece of paper as we have previously did, but I decided to put a layer of gesso on top here because, well, I decided to cover this text a bit. It will be still noticeable, and because the gesso is sort of translucent, but it still allows me to kind of create something on top without interfering the picture too much. So I'm applying it with my fingers because it's just easier than taking a brush and then wash it and dry it and so on. So I will leave it for drying and proceed to this one. First I thought I will do stamping, but I guess I have changed my mind. Yes, I decided to go for this Chinese stencil. It's like a Chinese poem. I was trying to find the meaning, but I haven't succeeded. Because it's written in this handwritten script, it's harder for me to identify the characters, so I couldn't find it. And it's read from right to left, I believe, and yeah. Not like I'm doing it wrong here, it's just for a background. At least in Japanese it would be read from right to the left. I think for Chinese it's the same. Maybe if you know, please correct me. I've just ordered it on AliExpress and I really like it because it gives a backgroundish look, but still so cool. Really like the hieroglyphs. And I actually add a lot of Asian style ephemera and design in my journal. Not this one, but my private journal. Here I decided to add some pockets. This is my baking paper palette. I enjoy using them in my journals, but the other side is a little bit too much, so I decided to cover it with the leftovers from my cover pages, and I decided to make pockets out of them. So see, even if you have some leftovers, don't throw them away, you can always do something interesting with them. Now here I'm using my strong glue because baking paper doesn't really like to be glued. It tends to resist gluing. So I decided to take my stronger glue, and on the other side the same. This way, because I'm doing both pages in a similar way, it takes much less time than it would be if I would make them differently. If I would first bind a journal and then decorate, it probably would take me more time because I will keep decorating the pages differently, each page differently. And here I kind of make them cohesive, but still interesting because we flip through the pages and they do not repeat itself. Here I'm adding another tuck spot, again with leftovers. I have two different kind of craft paper here. One is just spraying through the stencil, and the other one is by placing this stencil on the other piece of craft paper. So I call it the negative stenciling because I have a lot of spray on this stencil and I don't want to waste it. So I place it on top of the other paper, and there is enough ink, enough color to have a negative stenciling again. Here I'm doing the wax paint again with the stencil, and this time the wax is more colorful. There is much more color to it, so it is more noticeable it has the gold sheen as well, but for some reason I haven't shown it to you. And I'm adding one more pocket here. No, well, tuck spot, let's call it so. So I've just added a little bit more interest with this stencil. So it will not be just a pocket and that's it. And I decided to add some more to the right page as well, so I will use the leftovers from my brush for this stencil, and I will once again take the previous stencil with mandalas and do them more brightly. No, not much, but still noticeable. Tell me if you, in the comments if you have tried this technique with faux leather. Did you enjoy it? Maybe you have recycled like cereal boxes or anything with a different technique. Have you made a journal yourself? I really want to know about your journals, to know more about you, because most of you told me that you would like to see journal making videos, so I'm kind of interested if you have made the journal yourself. So here I decided to leave it as it is, but just to add a little bit more inking to make it look a bit more old. This is actually like a Königsberg map, like an old map. It's not that old, the map itself is modern, but it represents the old version of the city. So here is the page that we put the gesso on, and I decided to do some stenciling again. Here I will add some flowers with the purple StazOn ink. This is my first time using the stencil, so I was quite surprised that it is so thin, like these thin lines, and it looks so feminine. I thought it is quite a nice idea to add a little bit of feminine touch to this journal, because it seems a bit too much masculine, so I switched the styles here and there. And I really like this rose. It's so thin, as if I have drawn it myself. And as you can see, I'm adding a lot of purple to this journal, because the person for whom I made it likes the purple, so that's the reason for that much of a purple here and there. And tell me if you're interested in creating these background papers that I have in this journal, like this page, but the other side of this page. Because it is really easy and relaxing, and I actually would like to share it with you if you're interested. So maybe I can even make them as a freebie for you. So tell me if you would like to see videos about it. So I'm still adding some stamps just to create interest, and see how gesso kind of put the text to the background and stamps are more in the foreground, so we can see them better. If it will be without gesso, we couldn't see the stamps so well. Okay, so here this is ready. And I'm adjusting the position of the papers. And now it's time to bind the journal. So what do you need for binding is of course the thread, the needle, the pocket tool. It can be an awl or your hole punch. I'm measuring the spine and finding the middle. And I will find the middle here as well. So first you need 3 holes. I like to first pull the center hole in the center, and then measure equal distance to the right and to the left of this center. With the one signature it's pretty much easy, you don't need any template, you can even eyeball it, but with 2 or more, it will be more complicated. So I've put the middle and 3 centimeters to the left and to the right. So 3 holes. And I advise to poke the holes while holding the papers like that, because this way they may move a bit if you will straighten them. So hold them like that and poke the holes, and they will go directly in the bended center part. So here I'm doing a mistake. Don't do it like me. I'm just applying it on the spine and then poke the holes. Don't even measuring anything. Don't even look. I don't even look at it. So that's my mistake, and you will see why it is a mistake in a minute. So here I'm poking it through the spine. You can also poke it from the outside to the inside if you don't want to see these white like leftovers of the paper, because you have poke in this direction. So see, my holes are too crooked, not straight line, because I did them, well, basically blindly, and I repoke the holes that are not very centered, and we will cover it later, so you won't even notice it. So I'm taking a thread. You need like around three heights of your journal. And I also like to wax my thread. So you just wax 2 fingers and put the thread through them. Because waxed thread is less likely to, not to tear, but to fluff and to unwind. This is just an embroidery thread, so it's always a good idea to wax it. And there is an instrument for that, but I prefer just to use the wax from a candle. So first you put your needle with a thread through the center hole. Next to the top one or to the bottom one, it doesn't really matter. Here I'm struggling a bit. It's my first time recording me binding. I was really nervous, because I'm not perfect at that. I still make mistakes, and yeah, pretty nervous to record it. Then to the bottom hole. So center hole, then to the top, then to the bottom. And we need to tighten this up, and then you shall go to the center hole once again, but be sure not to poke through the thread that is there already. So here I'm kind of tightening it up one more time and trying to put it in the center. And you want the threads to be on the opposite sides, so on the left and on the right from the centered thread. And you just tie a knot. Double knot or triple knot. I usually do a triple knot. Don't know why. So yeah, it's quite simple. There are different techniques on binding, but I feel like for one signature journal, for such a small journal, 3-hole binding is absolutely okay. Like 3-hole pamphlet stitch, I believe it is called. So I've checked that everything is okay, and now we will cover the holes that we have made and that look white. I just applied the same paint that I've used for cover. So this way you can't even see where the holes were and if they are bad or not. So it's always easy to cover your mistakes, and you can always put something on the spine as well, like some lace or some papers to cover the binding if you don't like it. So here I'm checking if any paper needs some more to it, and I'm also giving you a flip through. I will also do a flip through in the end with like more closer look. So I decided to make something with this black paper because it's a little bit in your face black, too black I would say for my likings. So I decided to use the same map. So as you can see, I'm trying to use like the same paper over and over. It keeps it coherent, and yeah, kind of makes you feel that it's a one journal in one style, even though I've used so much different paper. So I'm applying the glue on 3 sides, leaving one side to make an opening for that, and I've also made a notch, so it will be recognizable that this is a pocket. And I would like to make a simple collage here on this paper, because yeah, I also want to cover the black of it just a bit. So it's just the simplest collage. I will put like three items here, and unfortunately my camera will stop recording for some reason, but it was just a short amount of time, so you won't miss anything. So I'm applying this piece of paper, then I will search for a sticker that I would like to put on top. Decided to go with this number 17. And here my camera stopped recording, but as you can see, I've added like one more sticker in a Japanese style to it. You will see it in the flip through. And on the last page, I decided to add this washi tape once again, because, well, it's kind of a strange image here. On the first page it's a face, or face of a man, but here it's like an arm, or it's not even recognizable what this is, so I decided to just add something as well. And I will also go for a sticker, just for fun, for more interest on the page. Miss kind of, I was joking about it, that he misses his other side. So now I would like to make a cover. It will be the simplest cover you can ever imagine. This will be just two signs, memory keeper, because it will be an album, and I decided to keep it like cohesive with my previous journal in this style. There was like a ship's log, and I will do a memory keeper here. So I am creating this keeper word first, and I'm using 2 sets because, well, there is only 1 letter in each set, like 1 individual letter, but sometimes you need more than 1 of the same letter and you don't have it. Here I need 3 E and I don't have them, so I decided to take like whatever letter, and I will just remove the ink from it, so kind of to have the same distance from each letter. So, and I won't need to add ER next, I will only need to add E. And I will do it with the black ink because the distress oxide wasn't really recognizable on this paper. So I'm stamping it with the Q. And now I will add the additional E. But I've put too much pressure on my stamp and stamped it too boldly, and I didn't like it, so I decided to do it again on the same paper, but applying less pressure than I did. So if you will do this journal in the same techniques, or maybe like being inspired by this technique, please tag me in the Instagram, the link will be down below, or in YouTube if you also a YouTuber. I will be happy to take a look at your creations, and I will be happy that I inspire you to do something with like my ideas, my paper, because I have a freebie. You can watch my previous video and there is a link for a freebie. So if you do something with my freebie, I will be so happy if you tag me. So initial position of this keeper word will be here, but I will change my mind later on. Although when I was editing the video, I thought that I really liked the position. I'm kind of okay with that. But in the process of making it, I was like, maybe I can change it. I think it will look better on the different placement. So I've changed it, and I don't know. Let me know in the comments what what choice you would do. Like, what do you like more? This what I'm doing now, or what you will see in the end? I think what I'm doing now is a little bit more interesting, but I decided to change it anyway. So I'm gluing it as well. Here were no problems with the letters because there is only like each individual letter in this board. No, we have 2 M's. So yeah, I have to take one more M, but I have it, so it's okay. So it's a good idea to buy 2 sets of these letters, even though you will spend more money, but I think they were quite cheap. I will link them in the description box. So this glue is strong, but it has to dry for a bit, so I was able to change the position. So here is the position number 1, but now I decided to change it, and this is the final look. So tell me in the comments which look you like the most, the first one or the second one. And now I will give you the final flip through. So as you can see, this journal is quite simple, especially the cover, the simplest one. I have some pockets, I did some stenciling, some spraying, although spraying was off camera. I used my paint, my wax. Actually, these waxes are the newest one. I received them like yesterday and I decided to try them out. Also, the stencils are new. So some stamping here and there. As you can see, I've used a lot of paper that you would normally throw away, but I don't, especially these palettes. I just adore using them. This is my jam, absolutely. So I have some pockets here and there, and this is like photos of Königsberg. I decided to show them to you closer. Maybe you are interested in. From 1931. So a big pocket, maybe to hide some photos, I don't know. This stencil is amazing with the characters, with the kanji. So my background paper on the left, cogwheels again, one more pocket with the stenciling, background paper and some stenciling with wax. So this is a negative stencil and a little collage. So yeah, this is the finished project. I hope you liked it, and yeah, tag me if you do something similar, and I will see you later in my next video. Bye bye!